Did California just eliminate youth incarceration facilities? Well, yes and no. After years of scrutiny, California has decided to close all state youth prisons. Set in place in 1942, California youth prisons haven't changed much since its inception, but after years of recent reform and decisions made by politicians and voters, California is in the final weeks of closing its notoriously grim youth prison system, reported the LA Times on June 2nd, 2023. But what will exactly replace youth prisons, and why is this change coming? In the next few moments, I will give an overview of what has led California wanting to abolish the youth prison system entirely and the impact it may have on citizens and the juveniles themselves, and what will replace youth state prisons. Let me start by sharing a personal story with you about my direct experience in a youth detention center. When I was 16 years old, I was placed in Central Juvenile Hall, located in Los Angeles. On one occasion, I had to defend myself by engaging in combat with another juvenile staff. Staff emptied 2 cans of OC pepper spray on my entire body and into my mouth directly. OC is a highly potent pepper spray. It will inflame the skin, resulting in a swelling of the mucous membranes lining the breathing passages and temporarily restricting breathing to short, shallow breaths, explains in the National Institute of Justice, March 1994 newsletter. More recent example of reason to close facilities comes at the news of an overdose of a juvenile in custody at Silmar Youth Facility recently, where staff has been accused of neglect on multiple occasions. At this same facility, I witnessed a staff break a juvenile's arm for a small fist fight he was engaged in. Why did California decide to close youth prisons? I've shared some personal experience with the youth prisons, and now I will share about the statistics and history leading up to the decision to close youth facilities. The youth prisons have been, since its inception, more about punishment than reform. They, youth advocates, lambasted the state system for fostering a culture of violence, ethnic conflict, and gang intimidations, reported the LA Times June 2023. In addition, it comes down to financial reasons on why state ran youth prisons began to boom. California Probation Subsidy Act of 1965 paid counties $4,000 for each adult or juvenile who could be diverted to a probation instead of incarcerated, explains the Berkeley Center for Criminal Justice, October 2010. However, in 1996, state and county lockups held 20,440 youths, reported the LA Times, and so did youth prisons were thriving in terms of financial reasons to exist. But after years of lawsuits and issues, groups like Anti-Recidivism Coalition have pushed lawmakers and created alternative programs to help youth offenders. And with this type of assistance for youth offenders, the numbers for incarceration in youth detention centers has dropped dramatically from the aforementioned number of 20,440 youths in 1996 to about 2,582 in 2022, reported the LA Times. So, what will replace California youth prisons? Since 2003, youth prisons have been under fire after civil suit in Alameda County Superior Court allegedly excessive use of force and sexual abuse by youth authority staff and inhumane, filthy, stultifying housing conditions, reported the imprintnews.org on April of 2023. Reports documented lack of education, medical neglect, and stunning levels of violence. This ultimately has led Governor Newsom and his vow to end the juvenile system as we know it, as stated in the imprint article from 2023, and return all occupants to their counties. But where? Where will the youth go, and how will it affect them and the community? Each county in California will be in charge of the youth that were in state YAs, and they will be replaced with programs like juvenile treatment centers where they have full-time psychotherapists that provide substance abuse treatment and counseling. Facilities like this will take the place of youth prisons and provide an approach that shows care and compassion, reports the LA Times 2023. A polar opposite approach that the state prisons exhibited of hammering the kids into submission, as reported in the LA Times 2023. Although the transition will be difficult, it seems that transferring responsibility to each county allows the kids to be closer to home and connected to resources that will directly help them in becoming rehabilitated. Over the last few minutes, I've explained what has led to the closures of California youth prisons and what will replace them. Although it may be too early to tell if this change will ultimately be a better outcome, early signs suggest that this change will ultimately be better for the juveniles to actually learn about themselves and to get help in order to actually become rehabilitated. With an abundance of resources from outside organizations, different approach of showing compassion and providing counseling in centers, there's a hope that closing the state prisons will be a better decision for the youth and the community overall. Thank you.